Pitcher Marvin Freeman made his debut with the Philadelphia Phillies in 1986, then was part of the Atlanta Braves bullpen in the early 90s. But then in 1994, the 6'7" Freeman had a season that was impressive. Now I entitled this video with the question if Freeman's 1994 season was the greatest pitching season of all time. But to be honest, I know the answer is no, but I've always been fascinated with Freeman's 1994 season with Colorado, and in a way, it seemed mythical to me, and a part of me wants to say that it was the greatest pitching season ever. So in this video, I'm not going to use a lot of advanced stats, but instead, remember Marvin Freeman's 1994 season as a baseball fan back then. The Colorado Rockies' first season as an MLB franchise took place in 1993. Around this time I enjoyed expansion and seeing new franchises, but I had no idea what would be in store for hitters in Denver. During Colorado's first season, there was so much talk about how hitter-friendly Mile High Stadium was due to the thin air. And it seemed to be such a harsh handicap for pitchers, as I felt bad for those who had to take the mound in Denver. And although there wasn't a DH in the NL at this time and no interleague play, it still seemed like a horrendous nightmare to pitch at Mile High Stadium. Enter the 1994 season. The ball was still being crushed at Rockies home games, but as the season was going on, I kept seeing someone in the stats section of the newspaper with the last name of Freeman and the NL ERA leaders with the COL abbreviation next to the name. I later realized this was the Marvin Freeman who I saw coming out of the pen with Atlanta. Now, I always thought that the benchmark for a terrific pitching season was having an ERA under 3. And seeing Marvin Freeman continuously in the ERA leaders with an ERA in the low 3 or under 3, I was amazed that a Rockies pitcher could be doing this with his home park in Denver. Now, the 1994 MLB season ended in the middle of August due to a strike. And Marvin Freeman, he only pitched 112 innings in 1994, but his 2.80 ERA has always stuck with me. Now, maybe I'm over-exaggerating this, but having an ERA under 3 while pitching in Denver at the time was remarkable to me. After the season, Colorado, they continued to pound out home runs at their home park as guys I would never expect to be power hitters were smashing out several dingers. Games were seeming to be more frequent, where teams were scoring in double digits when it came to Colorado. And as time went on in the 90s, this 2.80 ERA by Marvin Freeman amazed me even more. Then I later learned about how dry the air is in Colorado, and thus, it made it tougher for pitchers to grip and spin the ball. Hence, breaking balls wouldn't have as good as a drop or movement, which also used to make it more challenging for pitchers. Thankfully, a humidor was installed and used to help pitchers combat this moisture problem, which was much needed because of what baseball fans saw in Colorado during the 90s. With the humidor being installed to help pitchers, it impressed me even more that Marvin Freeman had to pitch in Colorado without a humidor. Colorado, they had to spend extra money to acquire talented pitchers, as those pitchers' numbers were obviously much worse in Colorado. The individual ERA statistics were incredibly high for pitchers who wore black and purple caps. You would be seeing more 5.0s on a Colorado Rockies pitching staff than at a Ford Mustang car lot. Andy Ashby was one of my favorite pitchers in the 90s, as I really enjoyed seeing his curveball, but he once pitched for Colorado, and I can't remember his exact quote, but he said something that if he was still pitching for the Rockies, he would have been bagging groceries soon. And I also saw in an article on MLB.com by Thomas Harding that a humidor was needed to save pitchers from insanity. Anyways, I wanted to check out Marvin Freeman's ERA plus for the season, as ERA plus takes into account factors like a player's ballpark, and an ERA plus of 100 is average, as Marvin Freeman's ERA plus in 1994 was 179, which was excellent. Honestly, I thought maybe it'd be 200, but anyways, Freeman's 1994 season, it was a memorable one for me. And also, while writing for this video, I learned Marvin Freeman has a talent to making violin bows, which is just awesome. Real quick, I just want to thank all those who have supported 90 Sports Nostalgia. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and check out the links below for Patreon and merch. Thank you so much. Remembering Marvin Freeman's 1994 season with the Colorado Rockies.